Excellencies, dear colleagues, thank you very much, Program Director. Allow me at the outset to thank the Progressive Business Forum for organizing such an important and a timely colloquium, which is very central to the issues that we are preoccupied with as the Department of International Relations and Cooperation. And the theme for this colloquium, ladies and gentlemen, is around advancing issues of trade, economic diplomacy, AFCTA implementation through structured partnerships. And TG, I aligned my speech in line with the theme. So I don't want to necessarily bore the audience with the current geopolitical climate that we find ourselves in. And I think DIRCO, through its minister and the President of the Republic of South Africa, has really reflected on the current geopolitical climate that we find ourselves in, especially the countries of the Global South, as to what then needs to happen from all of us going forward. I'm also pleased that the PBF has seen the need to invite the young cohort in our country that are led here by the Treasurer General of the ANC Youth League, because without the youth of our country in these engagements, Group CEO, all these engagements would be a futile exercise, because these young people are the future of our country. As the Ministry of International Relations and Cooperation, we are a repository of our international dealings globally. You are well aware that we have our embassies all over the world, and also here in the continent of Africa. And part and parcel of the work that our missions abroad are doing is to make sure that they champion our foreign policy, also deal with the process of championing our national interest. But thirdly, to the mandate of our heads of missions abroad is to champion economic diplomacy project. Group CEO, I thought you'll nod to that, because every time when I meet with her, she's saying, you are the master of economic diplomacy. Please, Comrade Thandi, come and let's work together. And I want to really applaud our Treasurer General for having given the Group CEO this role, because I know her potential, I know her capabilities. So far, I'm well convinced that our missions abroad, in partnership with PBF, are going to bring bankable projects to this country. As the government of the Republic of South Africa under the 7th administration, we want to recognize that economic diplomacy must be anchored on matters of collaboration. Government alone in those missions won't be able to help us to achieve those bankable projects that we just spoke about. We need to therefore collaborate with key industry role players. Private sector must also come on board. And I think the theme also suggests a trajectory beyond negotiations and dialogues that continues to require all of us to think creatively in an innovative way about how do we go about in the process of implementing this Africa Free Continental Trade Area. So we really need to work together with key industry role players on how do we then, as a country, South Africa, get to tap on the opportunities that are presented to us by the Africa Free Continental Trade Area. It is a call to action so that we strengthen our partnerships that are measurable, accountable, and also outcome-driven. TG, the other day we appeared before the presidency where we met with the president, the deputy president, and all that other team where they were looking at the work that we do as the executive of the Department of International Relations and Cooperation. And the president overemphasized to us as the Ministry of DIRCO that our working visits that we continue to undertake globally, let them be impactful and also consequential, because it doesn't help us to go and spend the public resources in those working visits, working of course together with the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Competition as we undertake those working visits. But coming back home, we've got nothing to show. And I think those sentiments from the presidency were well received by us as the executive of this Department of International Relations. And I'm well aware that the Director General has since issued a memo to our missions abroad to say, as you embark on this economic diplomacy, let us make it a point that they impact in a positive way in the economic landscape of our country. We are now going to therefore urge various business role players to follow the flag of South Africa and also make sure that every time when they are given those responsibilities and the opportunities by our various missions abroad, they continue to raise the South African flag to the highest level of economic diplomacy. Because that is the only way, Excellencies and ladies and gentlemen, that we can be able to improve and also change the economic landscape of our country. Given the current geopolitical climate that we find ourselves in, and I am hopeful that indeed we need to diversify our markets, because we have been comfortable, Honorable TG, we have been, I think we were on a slump moment. Let us now be awake and take up the opportunities given to us by the AFCTA and make sure that we utilize our presence in those countries through our missions representatives and make sure that we bring back to South Africa those bankable projects that can help us to address the triple challenges of poverty, inequality, and unemployment that has been affecting our people. Let me therefore not waste much of the time, because I know that Minister Tau will elaborate further on the work that his ministry is doing in the work of the AFCTA, but I need to assure you that we are busy repurposing our missions abroad as a Ministry of International Relations so that they can be anchors of economic diplomacy wherever they are in those respective countries. Because without us repurposing our missions abroad, all this work that we are doing, all these colloquiums that we are convening, and also all these working visits that we are undertaking will not have that impactful impact in the lives of our people. So I want to really encourage all of you to be on the lookout to the work that we do in the continent, because currently we are working on an Africa strategy that is focusing on the regional integration and making sure that we do have those economic partnership within our member states within the continent of Africa. Because Africa has to first trade with itself before going to other regions. How do we leverage on the opportunities presented to us by the AFCTA and make sure that we position our men and women in the business fraternity to take up those opportunities and help us to address all those socio-economic challenges that I've already alluded to. So thank you very much for the opportunity. I want to thank you kindly for the attention